Hello and welcome. I'm Sebastian, chapter leader at Travel Massive Life. On today's webinar, we are really happy to have Lynan, Chief Strategy Officer at the Experience Experts. Lynan will be talking about how to master conversion of sales lead. After the presentation, we'll take some time to answer all your questions. So if you have any, just write it down. And yeah, we can start now.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited to talk to you guys today. I am somebody who loves marketing, and marketing is sort of, I joke, it's my love language. So my intention for today is to give a little bit of that passion and that excitement for marketing to you guys to help you make more money. And so what we'll be doing is we'll actually be breaking down sales lead conversion into 4 what I think are pretty easy steps, and we'll go pretty in depth into all 4 of them. And my goal is really for you to be mastering the art of turning your traffic into your profit. And this is regardless of whether you have a travel blog business or a travel tour operation business, or even what I love to work with, which is boutique destinations. So hotels, resorts, any of that good stuff. So step 1 is going to be the 24/7 power of your website. Step 2 is never forgetting about email marketing. Step 3 is content marketing is king. And step 4, the secrets to closing sales, which is my favorite at the very, very end. Just real quick, who am I? Why should you be listening to me? Why am I the expert on this training today? So I'm a marketing and branding strategist. I'm extremely passionate about taking strategy, that growth and profit ideas, and turning them into concrete things that actually happen. So me and my team are a full-service digital marketing agency, and we're really obsessed with amplifying online presence. So that's websites, social media, all that good stuff. Obviously closing more sales and dominating in your marketplace, whatever particular thing you're selling in the travel and tourism space. Personally, I love to help people build really strong business models. So complete with virtual teams, really powerful website and social media, and consistent, reliable income generation. And I am a digital nomad, so I run a location independent business, and I love getting to share this online marketing wisdom. So that's who I am. And my company is called The Experience Experts. We are obsessed with helping travel and tourism businesses get more bookings with less effort. A lot of it has to do with automation and mastering marketing. We're full service branding and marketing agency, and our specialty is boutique destinations and luxury tour operators. So why is conversion important? Why does it really matter? Well, converting your traffic is probably one of the most important things that happen in your business, especially in this day and age where most of commerce is being done online on mobile devices. Converting traffic, so you actually got someone to your website or your social media platform, you want to turn them into a lead or a sale. And this is really our main goal. This is what we're up to. And so sales equal more money, more profit, more income. So we want to make sure that customers have the most direct, easy route to actually complete a purchase. And so we'll talk about some of those steps today. And additionally, what I say is if you're spending any money on generating traffic, so Facebook ads, Google ads, any kind of, paid, sponsored posts on any other sites, you really want your conversion to be dialed in and to really understand and know and be tracking your conversion stats. And so you can really know what the ROI, the return on investment of whatever you've invested in for paid advertising, for social media, for video, any kind of content you're creating. You really want to know if it's actually working, if it's actually turning into cash for your company. So conversion is super important. So I'm so excited we're talking about it today. So let's dig right into step 1, the 24/7 power of your website. So I love websites, and anybody who works with me, or really anybody who consults with me, I will talk about their website and we'll go dig through their website first, because it works for you while you sleep. It's really like your automatic salesperson that's going all night long, even when you're doing other things. And so the first thing I love to talk about when we're talking about, a high converting site is above the fold, which you can see from this great picture. So if you're not familiar, again, some of you guys are super advanced, some of you are super beginners. Keep your ears open. Maybe saying something you've already heard before, but maybe you're going to hear it in a different way today. So really the power and the juice is above the fold. And so just paying attention to when someone has to scroll down. When we are talking about mobile devices, we know a lot of people are scrolling down, but we still want to have maximum impact in that space above the fold. How can we jam pack it with information? How can we direct them to whatever type of action we want them to be taking immediately? So paying attention to above the fold on your site. One of the things I love to make sure is included above the fold on your site is one of these two, poll questions or power statements, and they can be one and the same or both. So I have two great examples. These are both from nomadicmat.com, and so that's a travel blog. And poll questions are asking and inviting and intriguing and pre-qualifying your customers to take the next action, to know where to go around your site. And ideally, poll questions are pulling those perfect customers towards you. So this one from Nomadic Matt is want to save money on your next trip. So it's an opt-in box. Of course we do. Yes, yes, yes. We put our email in. A power statement. So this is actually Nomadic Matt's tagline: travel better, cheaper, longer, right? So those words jump out at you: better, cheaper, longer. So if one of those three words or all three of those words speak to you, you respond to them, you're going to keep going, you're going to look down, maybe you're going to scroll down, maybe you're going to click, and that's going to speak to you. Just a little bit more on poll questions. They're guiding the user experience also around the site. So not just an opt-in, they're going to show them where to go. They're going to help them maybe potentially customize their experience. So here are two examples. One is from Backroads, which is mostly a bicycle tour company. And it says, new to active travel, find out what it's all about and choose a trip that's right for you. So they're definitely pushing trips that are action-based and active, and they're on bicycles and they're running. So they're going to tell you more about it. So they're guiding you through. And then this one here at the bottom is from TCS World Travel, which is a luxury company. And they're saying, how would you like to travel? So here are the two options: curated jet expeditions or custom private travel. So these are the two poll questions that are going to speak directly to their super ideal customer. So they're very dialed in. There's even some more text underneath to dial it even further. So power statements. So we saw that great example from Nomadic Matt. But it's just about, what does your brand stand for? And this is where a website can really sell for you. You can step out and be super clear, super direct about what you're about, who you're about, what your messaging is, and you can leave a lasting impact that's hopefully going to help you result in a lead that you can nurture or a direct sale. And so you really want to speak to what your customers will experience by working with you, and what you're about, and potentially what sets you guys apart. And so here I just grabbed some great power statements. This is from heritagetours.com, and they are, again, being super short and concise. And actually they're doing a double duty here. This is actually above the fold on their site. They're actually taking direct press links. So they have one from New York Times, one from Forbes Traveler, that are power statements about their company: specialized travel with expert guides, outrageous itineraries. So that evokes an emotion. I want to click, I want to know more. It's going to keep me going, and it's going to help that website sell me for their tours without me talking to anybody, without me watching any video. So the next huge piece of a high conversion site is social proof. And just in case you don't know what that is, that's testimonials and reviews, which have blown up because of Amazon and Yelp. But in the travel space, we look a lot to TripAdvisor, which a lot of us are not super huge fans of. And then a new site I'm going to show you a little bit, some of you guys may already know about, is oyster.com, which mostly focuses on hotels. So you can either link to one of these sites or take some excerpts from their content, or you can post reviews that you've gathered from your customers or for whomever you've interacted with to endorse your site. And this is a great way to showcase pros and cons of your company, any special features, anything that you're a specialty or something that you're known for. This is a great way to showcase it. So a lot of us are super familiar with this TripAdvisor, right? We're getting, you know, 5, 4, you know, what kind of number starred reviews, what things are people, you know, talking about. That this one's actually a restaurant that we went to in Budapest. I was in Budapest a few weeks ago. You know, they're rating service, value, food, atmosphere. So these kind of things all need to play into your reviews if you're going to feature them on your site, because again, people are using TripAdvisor frequently in travel. They're looking for certain things. Make sure you're modeling that, you're mirroring that. This is oyster.com. And so oyster.com is actually taking an aggregate of all of the rating booking sites and massing it all together. And I love it because it does this really visual, almost blog-like hotel review. And so like the first thing is the scene. So you see sort of the entryway, and they're very honest. A lot of them are very straightforward about what it's like to actually be there. You know, like they even say here, like the design is grandiose, almost to the point of absurd. Like it's hilarious and it's real. And then they also feature food. They rate the beaches. They rate the rooms. It's really honest. There's real photos there from oyster.com. I think this one is pretty funny too. They're like, there's no room service at this place, but they have 10 restaurants. What kind of craziness is this? So they're super honest. And so again, if you're looking for different ways to model social proof or see what else is out there, oyster.com is a great place to check it out. This is one of my clients, puzzleisrael.com. They have a whole tab on their site. So right there above the whole fold, it's on the navigation menu. They're guiding people through guest reviews. They have lists. They actually have it linked through TripAdvisor. This isn't animated here below guest reviews, but it's actually a scroll bar of their most recent TripAdvisor reviews. Very cool. If you could scroll down the page, which honestly, if you saw that, once you click down, there's a ton more with pictures and people giving their reviews. So again, they're showcasing it. They're using it on their website. And if someone is trying to buy a tour at 2 a.m., this page is working for them to close the sale. One other client of mine is Blue Osa. This is a yoga retreat center, and this is on their homepage, which is a long scroll down, but it pops out, right? The blue. It has these really in-depth descriptions of how amazing it is to be at their beautiful yoga resort in Costa Rica on the ocean. If I'm, you know, maybe teetering back and forth, should I make a booking? Should I contact them? And I read these powerful social proof reviews, I'm more likely to either put in my email or actually make a booking. Another thing that Blue Osa does really great in the social proof space is they do yoga teacher training. So if any of you guys are doing experiences, retreats, anything like that, small tour groups, they actually make videos for each one of the people that come on their trip. And I mean, if you watch any of these videos, the people just gush about how amazing it is and how it changed their life. And they use these actually for Facebook ads, and they convert like crazy. And this main one is sort of an aggregate. So you can check that out on their YouTube channel if you guys want to see it. The next huge piece of a powerful website is quality images. And I can't emphasize this enough. You know, have beautiful photos. We work in the travel industry. It's a very visual industry. You know, people want to see what they're going to get and tell the story of your brand. So if there's a certain way that you see travel or you see the world, make sure your photos are capturing that. And so, you know, use your signature style. If you have a certain look or a mood that you create with your brand, make sure you can see it visually. And I just grabbed some really gorgeous photos from this Instagrammer, Daniel Corden. And, you know, you can see not only even from his little bio picture, but how stunning his photos are. It's very picturesque and scenic and landscapes. And so that's sort of his style, and that's a lot of what he does. One other great example of this is the Maya Resort in Ubud in Bali. And I love them because if you go to their website, their logo is that great little yellow with the like swirl bird. And if you look at their Instagram, if you look at almost every single page of their site, they have yellow pops all over the property, yellow pops in the room. I'll show you on the next slide. You can just see this is their Instagram feed, the yellow flowers in the bath and the yellow of the aprons in their cooking school. So cool, so much consistent branded imagery. It's just powerful. It's building trust with the customer that you pay attention to details, right? So you can even see in their rooms, they have yellow walls and yellow pillows, and the book now button is yellow. So there's this almost luxurious way that they're paying attention to details that is, I'm setting a mood for my customer that we're going to be awesome. We are going to, pay attention to everything. And that is actually pre-qualifying someone to say yes and close the sale and make that booking or whatever they're going to be doing with you. So even these little tiny minute details actually play into someone making a purchase. The next thing I want you to just pay attention to, and again, this is not for everybody, but this is something I'm super passionate about, which is a little bit of PR around travel and tourism, is showcasing awards and press, and actually maybe pursuing some press for your company. Just where have you been featured? And these two are, this is from Butterfield and Robinson and Divine. They are both world's best awards from travel and leisure. But if you see, Butterfield and Robinson didn't get it in 2017, so they're a year behind, but they're showcasing it. And even Divine has an article, a whole page devoted to sharing the article and how they were featured. So this can look great. And this is pretty easy to do if you're familiar with pitching. You can Google pitch letters, and you can reach out to different press people and build relationships with them. And this is something that I love doing with travel clients, because these little tiny logos, right? They help someone tip to a yes, or they add credibility. They make you look more maybe expensive or more, reputable. But this starts from a relationship, starts from a contact with someone in press that will ultimately benefit your travel company, no matter what you do in the short term and the long term. This one's from Wild China, which is an amazing tour company that does gorgeous tours in China. And they're just featured everywhere. Their certificate of excellence in TripAdvisor, National Geographic, Travel and Leisure. So if you win them, if you step up and get them, you really should be showcasing them, because that's going to help you close the sale. You're going to convert that lead because maybe they love National Geographic, or they always trust Travel and Leisure, so they're going to click through. So the next piece is something that sometimes you'll hear is called CTAs, or calls to action. And they really are so important for closing a sale, because someone going through your site doesn't know what to do next. You need to tell them what to do. You need to guide them to that next step. And so the best thing you can do is tell them, what that call to action is. So let's plan your trip. Start your journey now. Explore. Start here. Click here. Learn more. One I grabbed from one of my friends' sites. I want to go. What do I do next? And then there's a button, and then they click it. Contact us and schedule a call is not always enough. And in travel, we have such amazing language that we can guide people through with explore and start your journey. So it's fun to get creative with this and making sure there's calls to action everywhere, all throughout your site, to help the visitor navigate toward that sale. Another thing to just think of when you're working on your website is that mood. Are you creating a mood of luxury? Is it affordability and cheap, just like, Nomadic Matt? Are you doing wellness? Is it about spa? Is it about sort of yoga, any of that? Or is it about adventure and being off the beaten path, hiking, biking, ziplining, all of the fun sort of active travel that's out there? Think about your unique angle. What sets you apart from the rest? What do you do best, like nobody else, and how can you showcase it? Again, above the fold, but really on the homepage and throughout your entire website, so it can sell for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this is just, again, a review of all the stuff we went through: above the fold, poll questions, power statements, social proof, branded imagery, awards and press, easy to contact you, schedule a call, those CTAs. And then the next one, we're going to talk about the opt-in, a way to capture leads and nurture them. So the funny / tricky thing about traffic is we have to convert it. And a lot of us wish that we could just, on that first impression, that first time they're on the website, the first time they see that blog post, or they see that social media post or that Facebook ad, they're going to buy. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. We have to make multiple impressions. We have to start to connect with them. We have to build something called know, like, and trust, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And we really want to not only capture the lead, which is often just an email that we're capturing, but we want to nurture them. We want them to get to know your brand, whatever it is you're selling, especially if you're a blogger or a photographer or some sort of Instagrammer. You're building a long-term relationship with them. Maybe you don't even know what you're selling quite yet. And so it's really about capturing them so you can keep their attention and you can keep cultivating a relationship. So I always say, don't forget email marketing, because it often is the number one thing that gets forgotten. And I actually see it as one of the most powerful things to enter the travel and tourism industry more recently, because it really is one of the things that travel kind of stayed in the dark ages with for so long. I've been studying internet marketing for almost 15 years, and this is just finally catching up. Hotels are just finally doing this. And a lot of my clients, I'm teaching them the basics of it. So if any of you are starting to master this or know how to make it work, it will make you money. So just some of the super basics. But again, if you're doing this already, just pay attention that you're doing all the details of this and you're implementing it correctly and to its max capacity. Putting an opt-in on your homepage is like a no-brainer. And I see so many sites without this, right? Someone that you either paid for traffic to get there, or you did that guest post or that podcast or that speaking gig, and someone came to your website, or that social media post someone clicked through. You want to capture them. They're not going to buy on that first visit. So let's make another point of contact, right? Let's build that relationship. So put that opt-in on your homepage. If you can get it above the fold, even better. Ideally, again, like I said, above the fold. Or the other thing that's very hot and super trendy right now is this shadow box, light box pop-up. And so this is if someone's maybe taking their cursor and going up toward the top of the page, and they're navigating off, you're going to have that pop-up. Don't leave yet. Sign up for our newsletter or stay connected to us. The other thing I always remind people with email marketing is if you have high ticket items, like for instance, like a $50,000 safari or something crazy like that, you really want to build a relationship with them before they'll make that official sale. And within email marketing, I'll show you in just a second, you can share social proof. You can use all those other techniques we just talked about in the email straight into their inbox to help them say yes, to help them even just reach out and potentially get on a call with you to make the sale. This one's from Butterfield and Robinson. Another thing to remember is that you're capturing that visitor so you can hopefully make the sale, but maybe they're going to refer a friend, or they're a corporate client, or they're going to make an introduction, or whatever they're going to do. You just want to be making that point of contact. So we're building know, like, and trust. So the first thing they do is know you because they've come to your site. Maybe they start to learn a bit about you and your brand and your company. The like piece is when they actually say, oh, this company is great. This blog is awesome. This tour company is cool. And then the next piece is the trust. And we always say, when you get to trust, people will hand over money. People will buy. People will reach out and actually have a conversation with you, either on the phone or via email. They're actually reaching out and taking the next step in the buyer awareness funnel. So the next step, really, I always say, is to create this amazing sales funnel that is going to educate your visitor about your brand, about your expertise, about your knowledge, what sets you apart, and then consistently stay in contact with them and offer value on a regular basis. And so unfortunately, Abercrombie & Kent and Butterfield and Robinson weren't offering any kind of free gift. They're just saying, there's new journeys, exclusive offers, and more. But you can also give away an actual irresistible freebie, something that people actually want, something that people actually need. And this helps people to put in their email, actually give you that piece of information to connect with them. Just some people ask me, how often should I send email marketing campaigns? I always say minimum send at least one per month. Twice a month is even better. Once a week is great if you have time for it. If you find that people aren't constantly unsubscribing, it's just a great way to share a little maybe tips about the country you're on, send maybe your updates of your blog, connect them to your social media, anything else that you're being featured in, just to show yourself off and show off your brand. Super cool to do. Let's actually talk about the email sequence of itself. I could teach a whole course on this all by itself because email sequences do convert leads, but I'm going to try and do this super, super duper fast and cover it really, really quickly so you can just get the gist of it. So just the gist of this is that, you want to have a welcome email. You want to provide value with your content. You want to be of service. Like I said, you're educating and teaching. So whether you're teaching about the country your tour company is in, or about what you've learned, like how to pack, how to take this type of photo. You want to share information first and sell and promote second. So you can see from this little sequence, it's content, content, then promo, content, content, then promo. So create a relationship where your advice is valued, where you're somebody who's trusted, and that when you make your value proposition known, it will be well received, it will be respected, and hopefully that trust factor will be there and they will actually buy or click or share or whatever it is you're asking them to do next. The main thing to know about email sequences is that you're nurturing someone's interest, right? They stumbled upon your site, a friend recommended their site, they clicked on your ad, you're taking their interest, you're cultivating an awareness of your type of product, whether it's like a travel blog or a tour company, and you're taking them down the marketing funnel into their interest, into consideration, then intent to buy, thinking about it, and then actually buying and making the purchase. They gave you their email address for a reason. There was some little tiny seed inside of them that wanted something. So don't waste it. Take good care of it. And I always say just water it with more of what would nurture it. So grow their interest and convert it into a sale. So think of all the ways you can do that. And it's going to be different from industry to industry, but how can you nurture their interest and turn it into a purchase? Just a little bit more about your funnel. So there are tons of templates out there on the internet, super easy to customize. This one is an 8-step one that actually, gets someone into a sale, giving them some kind of irresistible resources or free offer. I'll show you an example in just a second. Checklists, guides, all that stuff. People love it. Give them another offer, give them even more value. Provide a tip, link them to your blog so they know there's all these other resources there. Share social proof. What are people saying about your brand or who you are? And then, direct them around your website. You can direct them to the About section. You can direct them to the blog. Let them start navigating and getting to know you better through the aspects of your website. Another thing to just note in emails, calls to action, CTAs are very important. The reader wants to know what to do next and where to go. And so how you're directing them is going to direct the sale, is going to direct how you nurture the lead. So if you want to start making sales or promos in the middle of emails, tell them exactly what you want them to do and make sure you've built up the clout with your content, with the value you've added for them to say yes and click through. This is just an example of a great irresistible freebie that I found, an opt-in free gift. And this one was actually on a paid traffic. So this was on a Facebook ad. And I always say Facebook ads, Google ads rarely will convert with one click. So what we want to do is we want to capture them into email marketing. The best way to do that is give them something for free. Give them something they can't believe is free. They're just like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So this one says it's a Northern Ontario fishing handbook, a free 100-page guide packed with pro tips on these certain kinds of fish, the climate, the fishing season, recommended equipment, tackle, and much more. So if I'm a fisherman and I want to go to Northern Ontario, this is like, I just hit gold. I hit Eureka. And of course I'm going to download it. It's absolutely free. And, you're already pre-qualifying that I'm a fisherman who wants to know about those fish and fishing in that area. And so you're almost getting them prepared and ready and excited to buy from you. So think about how you can create an irresistible free opt-in that will prepare someone to say yes to a purchase. And this company is Wilderness North Fly-In Angling and Adventure in Canada, and they, they fly people in who love fishing. And so if you saw this, you would obviously click through. So it's a great ad. It's a great opt-in. Just the final piece around email marketing is consistency is key. So we talked a little about at least once a month. If you can do weekly or whenever you're creating or distributing content, even better. And what I always say, but first, set up that email sequence, set it, forget it. This is the power of automation. Your email marketing can also work for you 24/7 while you're sleeping, while maybe if you're location independent, traveling or on an airplane or doing something else, running a tour, it will sell for you. So back to our masterful list about the basics of a high conversion site. That final piece, blogging, content marketing. So this is like, again, I could teach a whole course on content marketing, but I'm going to condense it down and shove it all in. Content marketing is king. It is the creation and sharing of online materials, videos, blogs, social media. It is not direct sales. It's not promo. It's indirect. I always say it's selling without selling, but intentionally, subtly, actually selling. So content on your website components can be all of these things. Amazing sales copy that converts, telling your story, meeting your team, especially if you're a tour company or a hotel, blogs and articles that are going to educate, entice, tease, your destination or the adventures you have, case studies, itineraries, frequently asked questions, pillar pages, which are super keyword rich and really the secret to SEO now, videos, images, if you have a podcast, if you're teaching webinars, if you have PDFs, reports, ebooks, all of this stuff, again, it's not directly selling, but it is because it's adding so much more value, so much more information about your product and about your brand. Just real quick, content marketing, the number one thing, and it is blogs. And people ask me all the time, what is that ideal blog formula? Well, I've got this one here. Short keyword-rich headline, first paragraph, really super juicy storytelling hook, make them want to keep reading, to scroll down, featured image, more images in between, subheaders for easy scanning. I know if you read I read blog posts, like just goes, what's in this? What's in there for me? High quality content, minimum 500 words, really, they say 1,500 to 2,000 is a sweet spot. Have the article easy to scan, written to want to scroll down, want to read more. And I often also say that content marketing is really the true secret to SEO traffic. Search engines are savvy to all the SEO tricks now, and so they're really looking for high quality, fresh, up-to-date, current, consistent, engaging content. And they have algorithms that can tell if you're doing it sneakily or not. And so if you're doing great content marketing on your site, it's going to lead to, first, better rankings on your search engine, which is going to lead to lower bounce rates, so less people just bouncing from the site after a few seconds, and also higher rates of organic search, so people are going to actually find you for free. And if you're paying for Google Ads, this is going to make your site just like supercharged. Any kind of money you're spending on Google Ads is then much more potent, much more powerful if you have epic content that Google and Bing and Yahoo love. Content marketing can be time intensive. It also can be expensive if you're not doing it yourself, if you're hiring it out, but it's always worth it with the benefits long term, especially if this is like you're building a legacy, a longevity product or company. So brand awareness, competitive advantage, media visibility, all that good stuff. There's lots and lots of stuff that's going to help convert your leads into actual paid sales. The final piece of content marketing is social media. And I always say it's just a daily way for you to get access to your ideal clients. They're always on their phone. They're always on their computer. This is ways for you to be, playing the content game, creating content that people are spending that 20 seconds, that 5 minutes on, and you're part of their consciousness. You're part of, their plans for the future. And we know all of the social media platforms are just booming for the travel industry because people dream of travel and they dream of these epic trips. Just a final piece of wisdom with content marketing is that, travel, we're selling a dream. We're sharing what's possible. And so what easy way to do it is with social media. And so I would say social is a way of thinking. It's not a trick. It's not some kind of thing that needs to be figured out. It's just sharing these amazing trips. So seeing your brand story that you can share daily with your audience, I often am sitting with clients and they're telling me some epic thing that happened on a trip or with one of their groups, and it's like, that's a post, that's an Instagram story, you know, that's a blog post, that's a video, that's something. So you can constantly take sort of the daily actions of your company and turn them into content. Now to our final step, secrets to closing sales. You know, again, I could teach a whole course on closing sales, but these are some of the basics and some of the questions you want to be asking yourself. So when you get someone on the phone, or if you're having an email interaction with them, or if you're in one of those little chat boxes, you know, want to know more, you have some systems, you have some protocol, you have a script that you can follow, because you want consistency. You want your brand conversation to be the same over and over again. And especially if you're ever going to grow or scale, you want to be able to outsource it. So make sure you're doing this. Develop it so you can use it every time. Remembering in these sales conversations, you want to be cultivating curiosity. You want them to be asking more questions, and you want them to be wanting to know more. So asking questions like, what do you want? What is important to you? We call these high mileage questions, where they have a lot to say if you ask a good question. And then listen, pause, shut your mouth, just see what they say, take good notes. Repeat back what you've heard to be sure and emphasize that you're listening. And also, this is like free market research. This is all great stuff for your content, your social media. Again, stuff that can feed back into your company, fuel your company for future sales. There's an expression, ABC, always be closing. It's from a movie. And I make jokes, yes, always be closing, always be in that sales conversation, but also always be helping. You know, be asking those questions, be asking permission. Can I tell you more about this? Share, you know, all the amazing options that your company has. Paint a picture, you know, show them what's possible with your travel company, and stay away from maybe scarcity and urgency, which is on here, but still always be closing. And sort of the final steps I'll say for closing this sale today, you know, asking them, what did you like about, you know, the itinerary I shared? What did you like about the social media or the photography proposal I shared? You know, and schedule your next steps. Let's follow up tomorrow. Let's follow up next week. Making sure you're consistent with that sales conversation and you're driving the whole call, even though you're listening to what they're saying. So always showcasing your value. Keep clarifying, you know, making sure that you understand them and they understand you. Be really open to all the questions and as honest as you can possibly be. And what I always say, develop a follow-up protocol as part of your system, and then follow up forever, FF. So if you have a lead, just keep touching base with them. Keep touching base with them, because we know with travel, people have bucket lists. Some travel is very expensive. You just want to keep following up them. And that's just standard for any type of sales conversation. So these were our 4 steps. 24/7, power of your website. Never forget about email marketing. Content marketing is king. And those amazing secrets to actually closing the sale once you get someone on the call. So I can't believe I did that so fast. I probably talked super fast. I hope you have lots of questions. But we're on Q&A time. So how can I be of service? How can I help? And I promise I don't bite.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. I'm going to unmute everybody now, see if you guys have questions.
Pop-ups? Yeah. What's her name? Is it Lynan?
Hey guys, any question?
This one?
Is it? Can they hear us?
Yeah.
Is it?
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, is it Lynan, or how do you pronounce your name?
It's Lynan. It's like 2 names, but it's 1.
Okay, Lynan, this is Ombi, but my partner Alex wants to ask you something, because we're starting up a new blog, but go for it, Alex. So it's Ombi and Alex together.
Hi, Lynan. How are you? It's Alex. Just a quick question. I was reading something where in a pro blogger sort of group, and they were saying that actually they were tired about pop-ups. Users were actually tired of pop-ups coming up and subscribing my face. And what did you take on that? You know, what is it? You were saying that the best place is about the scroll, about the pay. What? Yeah. So what did you take about on the pop-ups on subscribe, or you know?
Sure. So there's Just with pretty much everything I've talked about, there's always sort of a test and track functionality. You're going to want to test things for a while and see if they work. The great thing about a lot of these pop-up plugins is you can turn them on or off. You could also slightly alter the text or the photo or the call to action to see if it gets response. I know that people are tired of them, but as tired as people are of them, they still work. So that's the joke. So I personally, I hate them on mobile. So actually I disable it for a lot of our sites on mobile unless we're like doing huge paid ad traffic. So we really, really, really want to convert it. But I think it's still really, really effective on home pages of desktops because, you know, especially if the back of the site is blocked out, and maybe even if I'm annoyed and I see that this is this irresistible offer, I'm still going to put my email in if it's something I want, right? Like that example of the fisherman, like even if I think this is annoying, maybe I'm a little bit annoyed, but they gave me an awesome 100-page free fishing guide. Like, can't be that mad.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks. That's great.
And so, Lynan, now it's Ombi, and I do have a question. It's about sliders. It's the it seems like to be or not to be. That is the question. I mean, every person you talk to has a different take on sliders, and people seem to say they look great, but they're really annoying and they don't convert. What's your take on sliders?
So there's sort of two takes on sliders, because I also I consult for my boyfriend's company, which is like a web hosting company, and sliders can just like break your website and slow down your website, which we are constantly always trying to keep our websites super fast because we know we have that like attention span of a pea for people to click around the site. So that's the only downside I see with sliders is page load times. And a lot of these plugins are not updated very frequently. And if you're putting in a ton of really high res photos, it's going to totally lower your page speed time. If you're gonna do them, again, I test and track. I love them visually. I think they can tell a story. Nothing excessive, like 5 or 6, but you know, maybe 3, maybe 2, and maybe changing it from time to time. I work with a lodge in Canada, and their homepage is actually a slider, but sometimes they turn it off. And so if they're sort of showcasing the winter scene, they've got this beautiful winter photo from a drone of the lodge covered in snow. And so in wintertime, they just keep it as one, and then they can turn it back on if they're showcasing a bunch of the summer activities. So again, you can, if you have that functionality with your plugin or with your web developer to be able to test and track it, or even change it from season to season, do it. It's the same as like a Facebook banner. Why not change it? Why not keep your site fresh and updated? Google loves that.
Thanks, Lynan.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Any other questions? There's a bunch of people on.
It was actually an awesome, it's me again, sorry. It was actually an awesome presentation. Really, it's one of the best I've seen in a long time.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
Really clear and really useful information. So thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. What kind of blog are you launching? We have extra time.
All right. Well, okay. So we have a blog called veryitchyfeet.com, and I've been blogging for about 10 years, but I've actually been backpacking for about 30. So I've been backpacking before, like people, yeah, I've just been doing it forever. And so, yeah, so when I just, it's kind of going from tell my family and friends what it's all about to like, show people how to do it, because people ask me all the time, and it's like, so, hey, why not take it the next step? So it's, you know, check it out. It's full-time. Yeah, so we want to make it our full-time job. Veryitchyfeet.com.
Yeah, and so for you, maybe it's not closing a sale just yet, but it's building those, capturing those leads, those leads. And so coming up with a really irresistible opt-in, maybe even a few ideas and testing those out is going to be really perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And check out Nomadic Matt's site. He's got great stuff, Matt. So
He's of course. Really great site. Yeah. There's some really good stuff.
Yeah, there's a few sites we are good fans of, like Goats on the Road. There's Matt, And I think there's some really interesting people that actually really do well. So.
Have you heard of Goats on the Road, Lynan?
I haven't heard of that one.
And there's a really cool one called let me think. It's something adventurous. Her name's Liz Carlson. She's a 20-something, I want to say North American, but she's got a completely
Young adventurers.
Young Adventurous is her
Cool.
name. But just she does some really interesting stuff that's very different to what people of her age group do. Like just really just like gutsy, and but it's really good.
Is she doing video or articles or both?
She does articles. Yeah, she does articles and both, and she talks a lot about like not selling your soul just to make a buck. And as you know, everybody's got a different take. Some people won't do affiliates. Some people won't do paid stuff. Everyone's got their take.
Yeah.
But it's really very interesting. So take a look.
Maybe someone else.
So if somebody else wants to talk, please jump in because I'll never shut up.
That's okay. No one else. If anybody else has any questions, I'm okay with chatting.
I think Ursula had raised her hand just before. Ursula, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose because I don't yet have a travel product, so I wanted you to talk a little bit about how this process, really works for building your list for the future, so to speak. So, it's like, yes, you can do the lead magnet, but you have nothing to lead to quite yet.
Well,
so how do you make it work?
Yes. Well, you're continuing to show value, right? You're building that relationship. And so even if you're not selling anything, you're continuing to share blog posts, be like, hey, check out my Facebook Live, or this cool tour of Italy where I was eating all the great pizza in my Instagram stories. So you're constantly directing them places, whether it's an actual sale or not. And I always say that's actually a good test to see what people click on, because you can then decide what kind of product you're going to create. So maybe I've written a few of these, like co-working, like where to co-work in this like town or in this country, right? And so I'll just share all my favorite co-working spots. And so then I got so much traffic from those. Then I created a little co-working guide and actually sold it to my list. And it was like $25, and I sold like hundreds of them. So I knew that people wanted that because of how much they had clicked on those blog posts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, which email service provider are you using for your client sequences?
Sure.
So one that you defer to most often?
So what I always say is MailChimp is great to get started because it's free, right?
Yep.
And until you need all the fancy bells and whistles, it's a great starting place. But also, MailChimp is a great paid option if you're very social media focused. So if you're very visual, if you're a photographer, or you're going to take gorgeous photos on your blog, stay with MailChimp. There are other options. I've used Aweber in the past. I've had tons of problems with them. I've also used Entreport if you're actually selling a product, like you actually have like an info product, you want to sell it through there. I wouldn't go to anything super fancy. Like even with my travel, like the hotels and things like that, I keep them on like an Aweber or a MailChimp because I don't want to get anything super complicated. I think one of my clients used, I think it's called Meet Emma or something like that. And we made it work. So it's just whatever one you like the templates, it's in your price range, whatever the size of your list, they're not charging you too much money. I have an article on my blog on Experience Experts about sort of rating email marketing companies, but there are new ones popping up all the time. And even there's functionality now in Gmail and G Suite to, boomerang, to do mass mailing. So even if you're not doing if your list is relatively small, you don't have to be too super crazy. But MailChimp is great.
And how much segmenting of the list do you recommend that clients typically do? I mean,
well, I've done like huge, like $1 million email campaigns where we super segmented, and we were trying to figure out if they were buyers or if they were just looky-loos and things like that. And if they like this kind of product or they like the high expensive product, then you would be wanting to use something fancier with software. But if you just look at your analytics, if you just take a look at what they're saying, like you don't need a fancy segment of the list, to know that if everyone who clicked, and Aweber does this, and I think MailChimp does it as well, that if everyone clicked on, the email campaign that week, you can segment that list. So it's not even like I purposely put up a tripwire. They just clicked on that article that was the co-working one. And then you can be like, I can just mail to the 27 people or the 105 people who clicked on the link to follow up with them. Hey, I saw you were interested in this. Want to know more? Click here. Or let's set up a call.
Okay, another question I have relates to social proof and getting social proof from mainstream media. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So what is it a travel blog or?
Yeah, it's called Caribbean and Co. So I write about Caribbean travel.
Awesome. So, people think it's really hard. So one of my mentors in New York City, she used to run a huge PR firm, and now she actually teaches people how to do it with social media. Because social media exists and it goes straight to people's phones, you can tweet somebody, at Condé Nast. I actually do the Twitter chat for Condé Nast Traveler all the time, and I talk to the editors. Like I'm tweeting at the editors and they're answering me, And so through social media, you have direct contact with people. And some of them I'm just building relationships with, I'm chatting with through LinkedIn. It's really easy to get to a lot of these people. You open up a magazine, like you open up I have like Food Traveler here, and I look at the role and I go, who's that person? You can look them up on, LinkedIn. You can look them up on Instagram. Like I follow a handful of people on Instagram, and now they know who I am because I'm liking and I'm messaging and I'm direct messaging and I'm commenting on their Instagram stories. They're like, who's this Lynan girl? And then they click at your profile and then they know more about you. So you can build relationships that way. And then just send out a pitch letter. Be like, hey, I'm writing about the Caribbean. This is all the cool stuff I'm doing. If you ever need a quote, if you ever need someone to create content, if you ever need introductions in the Caribbean, I'm available. And just get on their list. And then I would say build an Excel sheet of your own. That's like all of your press contacts. So even if you just like emailed with them once or twice, or you follow them on Instagram, I keep track of them. If I ever have an idea, and for me, it's also good because some of my clients, like I've had my clients in Outside and in National Geographic, and I've had to reach out to these people like, hey, are you doing any articles on yoga retreat centers? I know a great one. Here's some gorgeous photos. Here's our great new website, blah, blah, blah. Then they pay attention. So it's just starting the conversation and seeing, you'd be so surprised. They're constantly looking for, because content is like, I forget the statistic, it's like millions of pieces of content are created every day and distributed. They're looking for information. So if Caribbean is really hot, or one of the islands like, Martinique is blowing up or whatever, you can be there and be like, hey, I've got this article, I've got great contacts, you can pay me to go there and take pictures, whatever you need. They love that stuff. Or I'm here on this island for the next 2 weeks. Anything you need, let me know.
Okay, cool. And then final question. You talk about content being king. Could you talk a little bit more about how you promote a individual piece of content? Because people, sometimes people write a blog post and then they publish it once on Facebook and think that's it. I'm like, no.
Yeah, so you can't just put the little shingle and hope. So, I've mapped it out for clients. I wish I could pull it up. I probably don't know exactly where it is on my desktop, but just on like a little lucid chart, just being like, okay, a piece of content is created. So if you do video, I always say make a teaser video, right? Because then you have a little snippet that you can either show before or after, or if you have blooper reels, right? So you have like, you said, you've said the wrong thing, or you jumbled your words, or like I was doing a video in Costa Rica and a gecko literally fell off and fell on me and I started screaming, and it's the funniest video, and it actually got like a ton of views on YouTube because it was just funny. It's like blonde girl with like the gecko fall on her. So that kind of teaser stuff is great. Anything up to it, like Facebook Lives, Instagram, like scroll up to check out the video. I love that stuff. But I love systems and protocols. And so map it out on Lucid Chart. So like teaser video, article, Instagram, blooper, like six days later, send out to my email list. I do a ton of Facebook posts, so like various angles of the article. If you have any relationships with other bloggers, I belong to a women's travel blogger group called Girl versus Globe, and a lot of us share each other's articles on our social media because we're not always like wanting to just share our own stuff. So getting a part of those kind of communities. Also, if you use like a Hootsuite or a Buffer or anything like that, you can schedule like 1 in 2 weeks, 1 in a month, 1 in 6 months, any of that kind of stuff. So like you can just set it and forget it and be like, I know that this article will come out. And then if anything is hot in the news, like specifically for you, like, I don't know if something's going on in one of the Caribbean islands, or, Gwyneth Paltrow went there or whatever, there was a wedding, then you can pull up your article and then just start rescheduling it out and redistributing. And so it's constantly pulling out content and redistributing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, cool.
But map it out. Like, if you're just an Instagrammer, just promote it on Instagram. If you're always on Facebook, do it on Facebook. Don't make too much work for yourself. And as much as you can multi-purpose it, do that.
Do you work with bloggers, or is it primarily travel brands that you work with?
I've worked with a few bloggers. What I do with some of my travel brands is I put together press trips.
Right.
So basically helped the travel bloggers distribute their content, things like that. I'm friends with Matt. I don't consult with him, but just like, talk and shoot the shit. So I don't consult with them, but totally reach out to me. And if you have any questions, I'm always around on social media.
Cool. I'll take you up on that.
Any other questions?
On my Instagram. I gotta get off the Instagram. It's so bad, but I love it.
It's very time consuming. It's like to sit there and like and comment on people's pictures. I'm like, who has time for this?
I
don't
do
know.
it when I'm bored. Like when I have, like if I'm waiting for a meeting and no one's coming, I pull it up. I also am in a Instagram pod. So I only follow like a certain amount of people, and I mostly follow their trips. And my good friends and my clients. That's it. But it's fun to follow hashtags. Like just be like, oh, I'm going to Japan, and just like look through all the Japan hashtags. Anybody else?
They're all listening quietly.
Well, I have a question for you guys. What are you going to take from the presentation today and implement in your business or in your project in the next week?
I think for me, I'm going to revisit doing an email sequence because I have a lead magnet, and I do. Well, I was doing a newsletter. And then I was like, oh, this is taking way too much time. And then because I wasn't really selling anything, it was kind of like, yes, it was driving traffic, but there were easier ways to get traffic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and an email sequence, I mean, I showed you guys some big ones. You could do just 3 emails. Yep. Just a quick intro to get to know you. Maybe make sure they like your social media so they can also stay informed that way. Additionally, if you have a Facebook groups are super hot right now. So directing them over to your Facebook group is another way to do it. So just finding out, how you can take them to the next level and go a little bit deeper in the relationship to stay connected. So whether it's, follow me, I'm super active on Instagram, and Instagram stories, I'd love to see you on there, just taking them to the next step until you can replace it with like 5 or 7 when you're selling something.
Lynan, Alex and I are going to implement a lot of what you have suggested, which we've been working on anyway. So we're in the process of going from blogger, which 10 years ago was just like, tell your friends about what you're doing.
But it was the best back then.
Yeah, to WordPress. But it was simply, I mean, like if you go to veryitchyfeet.com, it was simply we did this and we did that. Storytelling, because I love writing. I'm passionate about it. But we're going to go across to, you know, we're in the process of picking a theme and obviously going through with WordPress, getting, you know, like rebranding and just putting into place a lot of what you have actually said, because we've just been doing a lot of reading over the last couple of months, and people have got very different styles. Some people really research it, which is what we've been doing, but some people just clearly throw. I mean, there are a lot of bloggers out there going, just throw yourself into it. Well, yes and no. I mean, some of them are shocking, and quite frankly, honestly, on travel websites, given that, you know, it's about travel and not about grammar, the grammar is appalling. And I'm not saying that, I mean, I can't add 2 + 2 without a calculator, so I'm not being judgmental, but if spelling's not your strength, get somebody to check your blog.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it just looks, for me, if I go to this blog and they can't spell, I'm just not interested.
Grammarly. That's
totally, Ursula. And the other thing I'm going to do after this is I want to connect with you, Ursula, because Alex and I have got an upcoming trip to Easter Island and South America and parts of the Caribbean. So we actually want to focus, do some stuff on the Caribbean. So when I add you onto Facebook, don't think I'm stalking you, Ursula.
Like, who is this person?
My name is Ombi, Ombi.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but yeah. So what part? Sorry, so everyone's. What part of the Caribbean is your background?
Well, I was born in Montserrat, but yeah, I was born in Montserrat. But I grew up in the U.S. and now I'm just all over.
Awesome. Sounds like us.
Anybody else want to be brave? We're having a great conversation. Don't you want to join? Unmute yourself. Say hello.
Yeah, it's just also like, oh no, sorry, like